Welcome everybody, we're here at Lolia Eco Village on the Holy Bro Show with Paul and Sequoia, Paul Sterling and Sequoia Scott, who are Tantra educators. How would you describe the work you do for our fans out there?
Well, the simple thing is we help people spend less time arguing in the therapist's office and more time enjoying each other in the bedroom. And the other way of looking at it is almost anybody can cook, but very few people are chefs, because a chef is someone who puts a lot of time and energy focused on one area to learn a bunch of distinctions. And most people never put that time and energy to learn about what it takes to make a relationship magnificent. And so we help them when people are ready to have that breakthrough and turn it around. We help them do that through sacred sexuality and communication.
Now you're relationship coaches and you're also in an amazing relationship. So is that your laboratory?
I'm going to give that to you.
Yeah, when we first got together, Paul asked me, what kind of relationship do you really want? And I said, oh my God, because this is the kind of work I do, I want my relationship to be where we do our research, where we, when we get into an upset, we don't see it as something wrong with the relationship, but rather an opportunity to learn something that we know we're being given the opportunity for, so we can help somebody else. So we have a strong commitment to really seeing it from that perspective. And then, it's more of a journey, like a hero's journey that we're on versus, happily ever after, that while we found each other, now everything will be just fine. No, we're pretty realistic. We're humans. We're going to get triggered. We're going to get upset. But we teach tools to help others be able to get through those upsets. And we have a commitment to our commitment that helps us utilize the tools and have a relationship that keeps growing. And sexpertise is a very important part of that. We believe we're creating sacred partnerships versus, just like a marriage that will last a long time. Sacred partnership for us is like where it has spirituality, sexual expertise, where we're constantly seeing where we can go and learning and also apply that to communication.
So it sounds like what you're saying is the answer is not how to not fight or to find someone that you're not going to fight with. The answer is how to gain the skills to get through the disagreements and the fights. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, and most relationships don't end because of a lack of love. They end because you run into a problem that's bigger than your skill sets, like mountain climbing. It gets steeper and steeper, and you have to have better and better skills. In the beginning, dating, the only decision you have to make is like, go on a date, not go on a date. Then the next thing is sleep with them, not sleep with them. And then you start having to make financial decisions and career decisions and family, and the decisions get tougher, and your skills and your muscles, your relationship muscles, need to be stronger and tougher, and you need better and better tools to resolve all sorts of challenging issues.
See, I'm really good in relationships for the first 2 weeks. I'm like a quart of milk. After 2 weeks, you kind of have to spill me down the drain. What's something I can do to get to the third week? What do I have to do to get to the third week?
I would say what you would have to do to get to the third week is have courageous vulnerability, which is what we teach people, to lean into those places outside of your comfort zone, right? Especially if 2 weeks is kind of the bubble that you stay in, and then you kind of shift into, it's getting a little bit too serious or dangerous, right? Then you pull back. Well, we pull back in relationships when we feel unsafe or uncomfortable. So to have courageous vulnerability, that's to say, I know this is going to be fucking scary. I know that I'm going to come across situations in this relationship that are going to feel totally uncomfortable. But just because it's uncomfortable doesn't mean that it's wrong. It just means that it's something you haven't experienced yet. Like a roller coaster, right? Like, I don't know how this is going to feel. And then you just lean into it. And sometimes it's the ride of your life. It doesn't have to mean that that ride of your life is going to end up being your lifelong partner. It just means you enjoy the ride while the ride is going.
The other part of the 2 weeks, and it could be 2 weeks, 2 months, 2 years, different people have different things. At the end of 2 weeks, they start to get to know you, you start to get to know them. Like in the beginning, it's all fairy tale land. Your projections are that they're perfect and they don't fart and they don't have any problems and all the rest of that. Well, after 2 weeks, you start to see some of the flaws in each other. And what real love is when you see all of their flaws, their fears, their doubts, and you love them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not that I should just never let them get to know me.
The sooner you get to let them know you, the safer you are in a relationship, because you want them to know you sooner. And if they're not gonna, if like very early on, I had Sequoia look at my body and say, honey, does this work for you? Because this isn't changing that much. You know, I might get a little more buff, I might get a little fatter. But if this doesn't work for you now, it's not going to change tomorrow. So the sooner
this
you
is probably
let
not
go,
going to be getting better. So
Right.
you should just...
Right, and the reality is, so many people are afraid to be seen, which is why I was saying courageous vulnerability, because you're really, intimacy is into me, you see.
Yes.
So you're basically like, here is who I am. And I believe from my own experience that it's better to know whether or not they're going to like who I am totally in the early stages, because it weeds out people who are not going to be, something that you want to spend your time on for a long period of time. If you hold all that in until you have the ring on her and, and her saying, I want to be with you forever, then you're chancing that when you reveal the truth of who you are, that they're not going to want to be with you. So why not do that in the early stages versus later?
And a simple example so people can think about that is like if you want to get married and you want to have kids and you want to live in suburbia, the sooner you say that, the better. And there's this expression, well, what if they're the one? I'll scare them away. No, if they're the one, you'll attract them. If they're not the one, you want to get rid of them as soon as possible, because the one is looking for you and you're looking for the one.
So you're saying the key is being vulnerable, but a lot of times we think, like men think, well, the key is to like hold it together and to to show her that I have everything covered. Are you saying that's not the way? You just like where do those two ideas meet?
Well, so kind of different ideas, right? But we as human beings want to know that we can trust, we will be respected, and that we can be safe in a relationship. Those three components to a relationship are very important. And we get reads off of people for different reasons, right? So if you have your shit together in your life, most likely it'll show up in signs, right? So we're not saying like be so vulnerable that you're just a wreck all the time and you're crying all the time, right? But to actually have tender moments where you're authentic with a person, that's all that somebody needs to know. And authenticity is like when you have something come up for you, emotions or something, that you don't like pretend like you didn't have them and go, no, I'm fine. That you actually go, wow, I'm feeling really tender around telling you this, but I really like you. And it's important to me that we, we spend some time together today. Would that work for you? That is authentic, it's courageous, it's vulnerable, and all of that actually creates a foundation, which is really important, of the safety, the respect, and the trust.
And we confuse weakness and vulnerability. Vulnerability, it takes a high level of strength to be vulnerable. You have to be, you use the term courageous, and be courageously vulnerable. And that's a challenge that happens with people in the world. If your weakness is not vulnerability, but revealing your weakness is vulnerability. Like I'm dyslexic. And if I reveal that I'm dyslexic and I'm spelling impaired and grammarly impaired, and I also am somewhat jealous. And if I pretend that I'm not jealous, that's where it all sorts of crap comes out and it gets acted out. But if I just come to Sequoia and go, I'm jealous, I'm working on it, and so I'm courageously vulnerable.
Great.
And we're talking about Tantra and sacred sexuality, and here's it's one of the most vulnerable things for a woman to do, is to share her body, to open herself up to a man. And if a man's not willing to be open to a woman, she doesn't trust him. There's some instinctive thing. And we're taught, like, to be tough as men. We're taught, and you know, John Wayne and whoever else, a local Van Dam or whoever, but we're taught to, like, pretend that we're really tough. And what she wants to know is, you said the words, can I trust you? Will I be safe? If I open my body, if I open my yoni to you, will I be safe? Can I trust you?
Yeah, that's a really awesome point that Paul just made, because most women are wondering why they can't have an orgasm, or why it is that they're having a hard time with intimacy with their partner. And it really does come down, and this is why Paul and I utilize our relationship as a laboratory, like you said. We look at what's the real root cause of most relationship issues, and it's that trust. Something happened where trust left the relationship, or respect left the relationship, or safety. So when Paul was saying that women actually have to open their bodies to allow a man to enter us sexually, right? Well, there's other ways you can have sex, right? But for that part, when you open your flower, you need to make sure that you can trust that this man is going to love the inside of you. And the first way to know that is that they love the outside of you, that they respect your boundaries. And so we teach people about boundaries so that they can, boundaries and trust and respect and communication, and how to actually communicate through things, so that when they get to the intimacy part, oh my God, you can fly as high as the universe can take you if you feel safe in this person's presence.
Well, when it comes to safety, one of the things I've observed nowadays with a lot of the women I've dated is a lot of women nowadays in today's society, whether it's the Me Too movement or what have you, that a lot of women are angry at men. And it works both ways. There are a lot of men that are disrespectful or upset at women. And so, but I'll just speak from my own perspective. When I'm dating a woman and I can sense that underlying it all, she has an underlying anger towards men, how the heck is that ever going to work in a relationship? And what do? Do I just leave and let her do her thing? Is there anything I can do to try to help her? But I've been in a lot of relationships recently with women where you're mad at men. So what the heck am I supposed to do? Where do I even start?
Do you want to answer that one? Because I've got an answer too.
We can both answer that one. First place, you asked several questions there. And part of what what Sequoia was talking about a second ago is sometimes the safety, trust, and respect wasn't broken in the relationship, was broken prior to the relationship. It could be broken in the family of origin, where somebody in their immediate family, they were incested or raped or non-consensual sexual experiences. So they come with a built-in distrust of men. So there's two things that can happen. Number one is the woman really has to want to heal. You can't make somebody heal, just like you can't make somebody love you. Healing is a high form of vulnerability, because to heal, normally we have to feel what we don't want to feel. We have to go back through that incident at some level and heal it. So that's part of it. And then the other part is creating a sacred space where when she does get pissed, to not take it personally, which is really challenging. Because it comes out aimed at you. They're not, they look at you and they see you as their dad or their uncle or whoever perpetrated, or their ex-lover that beat them or something, and it comes out at you. And it's really hard not to take it personally, but to create a safe space and go, I got you, honey. Sounds like you're really pissed right now.
And the reality is, even Shakespeare wrote about women being changeable, right? We have, there's, in all of these Buddhist practices and stuff, there's all these goddesses, right? Well, those are all the faces of a woman. We are very diverse, and that actually is very exciting. But one thing that I suggest to men, and this is why we teach relationship skills, not just Tantra, right? Tantra is a major part of it, because you have to do all of this, this relationship understanding before you can actually dive into the most intimate, which is, having intimacy with someone. But when you actually can say to the woman, I accept all parts of you. I accept the Kali, right? Or the Medusa you were saying the other day. I accept the goddess Kali in you, who rages and wants to cut off heads, right? There are times when I need that. When he can say, I got you, babe. I just let it all out. And I can go, oh, I'm so frustrated with you. And he wraps his arms around me and he squeezes me and he goes, I got you. And then he apologizes for anything that a man has done to me, any man in my life has done to me. That heals something in me. For us to expect each other just to behave and to be nice people, that doesn't do anything for the relationship. You need to let, homeopathy works by vibrating things out of our system, not suppressing them. The same is true for a relationship. You don't want to suppress things, right? So the best thing I think you could do, Simon, is you could ask her to say more. It sounds like you're really angry. I want to be here for you, so you can share with me anything from your past or anything that's currently going on. I want to be your safe space. What do you need to be safe right now? Do you want me to listen to you and reflect back what you're saying? And we teach nonviolent communication, a way of giving empathy to people. So when anybody in our life, somebody that we've dated or anybody, when they come up and they're angry about something, we go, wow, that must be really painful for you to be going through that. Can I listen? Can I give you a, supporting, shoulder to cry on or be frustrated with? And when you create that space for a woman, oh my God, you've got her heart and her body feeling safe with you, and that's a huge thing.
So one way of looking at it is foreplay doesn't start in the bedroom. Intimacy doesn't start in the bedroom. It starts with how you treat your partner and what space do you create. Do you have where open and honest communication, or are things hidden? Because one of the things we teach, because we're teaching two sides of it, think about it. One is the communication and all the stuff that happens outside of the bedroom, and that all leads to the bedroom. A lot of people go, I just want the stuff in the bedroom. Just give me the next tool on how to stroke her body and all the rest of it. Oh,
yeah.
And that's fine, but that's like jumping right to the head of the line, and you haven't put the foundation in. That's like I want to build the penthouse before I built the foundation. And it doesn't last, and it's not nearly as powerful.
So it sounds like what you're saying is, men, we actually have to do something.
Yeah.
And women. So it's not just, it's both sides.
Yeah, sorry.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a skill. It's a combination of a skill to be learned and a muscle to be built. You look at men. Men are not wimps. Look at the sports. If we know how to take something on, we take it on. Look at, football practice, basketball practice. You go, you dribble, you make the shot, you dribble, you make the shot. Anybody who's been a professional has made probably hundreds of thousands of shots.
Sure.
So it's learning how to understand the woman and then practice it. And then the thing is, to me, practicing pleasuring a woman is much more fun than shooting baskets at a hoop. It's like, oh my God, it's worth learning. And it starts with, I wrote a bestseller called Argue Less, Love More. They can get it on Amazon. And it's about the communication, because lovemaking is just another deeper, more intimate form of communication. Because the essence of what we're teaching is people to expand their ability to express love through your eyes, through your kiss, the way you breathe, the way you touch your partner, the way you make love. How do you express love so your partner feels adored?
As men in society, if you had a magic wand and you could wave it and you could do something to change the attitude of the men towards women in our society, what would you change?
Well, there's several things. One is we're engaged to be married, and this is still, even when we're married and all that, it's still her body, it's still her choice. So men, permission. Ask permission before you penetrate your woman. Honey, may I enter you? And don't take no as an insult or personally. It might be no, not right now. No, my yoni's not ready to be entered, but give me 5 minutes of touch and caress and I'll be ready. So it's like men to honor and appreciate rather than objectify women. And like if you get to make love to a woman, it's not like you go back to the locker room and go, yeah, I nailed it. Yeah, I did. Like that is like fucking gross. Mm-hmm. But to really do it in a way that's honoring, and one of the ways of doing that, I did a video on YouTube. People put in Tantra and sacred sexuality. There's like 4 million views. And it's about really how to honor each other in the bedroom and treat them as precious. And the last part of that, you asked a big question, and I'll hand it to you, but men are typically stronger than women. And on the dark side, we use that to overpower women, to use force, to make them do what we want, even if they don't. That is the opposite of what I think we should do. I think we should use our power to create a safe space so that they can flourish and come out in their divine beauty and excellence. You know, it's like we're creating safety for our wives, our mothers, our daughters, women on the planet to show up, whether they're gay, straight, whatever it is. It needs to be a safe space, and their bodies need to be their choice.
And what I would say is be committed to a commitment, a journey that the relationship is going to go through. And as men, support your woman if she needs something. And more than likely, the woman is going to support you when you need something. Get education, relationship education. Seek out people like us who coach and teach programs that help you have relationship expertise, sexual expertise. And that, to me, honors the person that you're with and honors the path that you guys are choosing to be on. You know, we're going into a time in the world where relationships are transforming. Like, not everybody is going to have the traditional, you court somebody, you date somebody, then you marry them, and you know, have the possibility of life forever together or a divorce, right? We're now having experimentation with polyamory and, well, what if open relationships are more natural? All we're saying is that no matter what kind of relationship you have, that you bring honor, you bring trust, respect, and you create a safe space for the person to be whoever they are and whoever they aren't. And if you do that, men, I'm telling you, if you do that, you just give us women safe space to be exactly the way we are, then we will do the same for you. And it goes both ways. It really does go both ways.
So speaking of both ways, what if you had a magic wand, same question, and you could wave it and change anything about the attitudes of women in our society, what would you say to the women out there?
Give men a chance. Because men really are tender-hearted beings. One of the things I teach women when I'm telling them how to understand a man is understand that, you know how we women protect our yonis, word for sacred space, or our vaginas. We are very protective of them. That's how our physical form is made. It's inside us, and we protect it, and we really only open our flower for people who, you know, have come to a place of honor, love, and respect for us, right? The same is true of a man's heart. Most women don't realize that. Once I teach them that the man has a heart castle, and that heart castle has a drawbridge, and if you can really create a safe space for a man's heart, they'll lower the drawbridge and invite you in. But we women have to respect men. And it's really important to educate yourself in the dynamics of men and women, and that's one of the aspects of what we teach, because most women treat men like, you know, a fuzzy, you know, hairy girlfriend. We expect you to be like a girlfriend, and most guys are like, well, come on, can't you just hang with us guys, right?
Yeah, be a
bro. But the reality is that if you related to me as a woman, like I am, just you relate to me as a woman, you stay as masculine as you are, right? Then I'm honored. I'm honored as okay, I talk a lot. I'm a woman. We anthropologically talk a lot. Men, not so much. Holy bro show. Right, like you guys are bros, you know. You don't say as much, and there's reasons for that. But the reality is, if you could honor women and we honor men, then you're already starting on a foundation of love and respect and kindness, and be impeccable with your word, right?
So here you'll hear the difference between, and a lot of times in our teaching we teach the difference between the masculine and the feminine, however it shows up in relationships. So if I was asking anything from the feminine, understand that the masculine tends to want to be your hero. So assume the best intention on all behavior. When you start to assume bad intention, there's no defending themselves, and we get in this battle. What's oxygen for the masculine is respect, appreciation, acknowledgement, and affection. And a lot of times the feminine thinks that we can punish you into better behavior. I'm going to withhold love, sex, affection. I'm going to be disrespectful. And that's going to teach you how to behave better. It doesn't. So the idea here is to make it, at the beginning of the interview, I said the difference between a cook and a chef. We've given you some of the spices like that will spice up and that a chef would use rather than just a cook. But it's an ongoing commitment that you're going to really learn and become excellent in this. Get my book, come to our workshops, watch our videos, but we're not the only ones. Make it a lifelong journey. There's many masters out there. There's many people that are bullshit too, that are, if you look at it, are trying to teach you another way to like manipulate your guy or manipulate a woman. And this is not what we teach, because that's inauthentic. It's like, how do you pick on their weakness to get them to hooked on you? Versus how do you see their greatness and bring that out in them? And that's what we want, both for the men and the women, in a relationship where your greatness is seen and brought out, and you learn your relationship superpowers.
When Paul and I were first together, I said, I want a partner who's going to be my champion, but I want to be his champion too. And what I mean by that, I'm pretty out there as far as the chances I take in life with business and the way, I've grown my life. And I want to know that my partner is going to see me like completely, the whole person, and be my champion and say, that woman, she's amazing, right? But a lot of times we have a relationship with someone, and instead of talking through challenges with a person, we go and we gossip about our own partner to other people, and we complain and we bitch. Well, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be actually talking to your partner and honoring them when you're in the space with them, and then to the world you should be creating who they are to you. And that to me is another part of this relationship is I am his champion. I will tell everybody how wonderful he is. And if there's some problem I have with him, I don't go and talk about it over there. I talk about it with him. I clean up my mess with him, or I address it. We work through it, and we move on. And then we don't diminish each other, the view of each other in other people's eyes. That's like the worst thing you can do in a relationship.
We have a 90-day program called Delicious Love, and we have people from all around the country that participate because it's over Zoom and it's interactive, and they're learning. They're actually taking on. It's like getting a personal trainer. If you want to get your body in shape, you get a relationship trainer or relationship coach to get your relationship in shape. And go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, so what if men put as much time into our relationships as we did our fantasy football leagues? Is that something you would recommend?
Yes. Absolutely.
That's
a really good question.
That's a good idea I just came up with. I think that's a good idea I just came up with.
For every hour you put into fantasy football, you got to clock an hour.
Okay, let's not get carried away here.
Listen
All right.
to him.
Thank you so much, Paul. Thank you, Sequoia. This has been another episode of the Holy Bro Show from Lolia Eco Village community here in Hawaii. God bless. Thank you so much. Subscribe. Leave a comment. If you have any questions or comments, leave them below. Press like if you liked it. And subscribe to the channel on the Holy Bro Show. That's right. The Holy Bro Show. Check it out.
Yo.
Bye.